Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Game Changer Mentality Podcast. I am your host, Rodney Flowers, bestselling author, keynote speaker, and resilience trainer. And we have another exciting show for you today. I'm here with my wonderful, beautiful guest, Racquel Walters. She's a relationship coach. She's a career coach, and she's here with us today to impart her knowledge and her expertise and share her story of overcoming obstacles and barriers in her life and becoming a game changer, because that's what we're all about here at the Game Changer Mentality Podcast. She's going to share her tools and strategies that have allowed her to be the game changer that she is. So sit back and relax, listen to the show as we have this wonderful interview with my friend Racquel Walters. Welcome to the show, Racquel.
Oh, thank you so much, Rodney. I am so thrilled and honored to be here with you, speak with you, and just to share my message with your audience. It's a pleasure.
Well, I want to say I just love you, Racquel. You have such a beautiful spirit. You're such a light to the world, and I'm glad that you have, decided to be here on the show with us today. And so, just thank you for who you are and what you do in the world. So I really just appreciate you being here with us today.
Thank you very much, and I will echo the same as well. You're such a special person, an amazing human being, and I feel very fortunate and lucky to have met you and to have developed this relationship that I know will last a lifetime. So thank you for having me here.
No worries. My pleasure. My pleasure. You're doing big things in the world, girl. So you're writing a book right now. Is that true? Are you writing a book?
That is 100% true.
Wow. Well, congratulations on that. How are things going with that? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, sure. I am getting ready to pre-launch my book so people can pre-order it and just get a little bite-sized taste of what the book would be about. My book, the title is Ideal Career, Ideal Life, Strategies to Live Your Life Fearlessly. And it's going to be amazing. It's focused on some of my clients' success stories in addition to stories from women who have obtained or faced obstacles and challenges and have come across victoriously on the end. So it's filled with mindset work in addition to practical strategies that not women, but people in general can implement right away. So excited for that.
Wow. That is awesome. And so what is the title again? Can you repeat that title for us again?
Sure. It's Ideal Career, Ideal Life, Strategies to Live Your Life Fearlessly.
Strategies to live your life fearlessly. I love the subtitle on that. Actually, I love the entire title. I think it's awesome. And I'm glad that you're writing a book like that and about fear, because I believe fear really hinders a lot of people from accomplishing what they want to accomplish in life. I know people, I've experienced people who are afraid to drive out of the town that they live in and perhaps to go to a city or, travel. Some people are afraid to try different foods. Some people are afraid to even ask, their ideal mate, their ideal woman or man that they would like to spend the rest of their life with out on a date. So fear can be very debilitating,
Yes.
And so the fact that you're gonna, write a book on overcoming fear, I think is fabulous. So for the listeners, I mean, what are some of the things that we can do to overcome fear? What have you learned in your life?
From my personal experiences is fear can definitely hold us back, just like you just said, from doing so many different things. And it doesn't matter what area in your life you want to progress in, but for some reason, that little inner critic, those self-doubts and fears that are often called limiting beliefs hold us back. And so for me, it was no different. I always aspired to be the very best human being and to be a person of service the very best way I can in this world. But a lot of my fears really that held me back was that I felt like I wasn't good enough. I wasn't worthy enough. Who am I to think that I can affect or bring about some sort of change in this world, no matter how minute it was, because oftentimes we feel as if change and the process of change has to be this gigantic, thing. But for me personally, in terms of my strategies, I had to become very, very honest with myself in terms of what was truly holding me back. Was it just the stories in my head? Or was it just somebody telling me things that I'm believing? And this could come from my parents. It could come from early knowledge from parents, teachers, society, the media, anywhere. It could come from a mentor. I don't know. It could come from anywhere in the world. And unfortunately, our minds create this story, and oftentimes we believe it. And so for me, in terms of me not feeling worthy, I wasn't feeling worthy enough to even, go into a particular career, because I didn't know if I had enough knowledge to impart that into helping people. And so to answer your questions about me first, identifying what was holding me back, I felt like you have to get very clear, crystal clear on it, because clarity is power, which is the first thing and the first tip or strategy, I would say. But then people will say to you or to me, how do you get clarity? I mean, what is clarity? And so for me, I like to say clarity is you knowing, and you don't have to know 100%, but knowing what it is that you want in this world, what it is that you don't want, and how is it that you're going to bring about whatever the change is you want to create. And so let me just become more linear with this and get more specific. For me, for instance, in me going to high school and sort of wanting to find out my purpose in this world and what I wanted, who I wanted to become in this world, I wasn't sure how I'm going to help. But what gave me some sense of how I wanted to make some sort of change is by looking at, okay, I was attracting people, my friends, even some teachers at the time, crazy to believe it, as a teenager, having your teachers sort of looking up to you or asking you for little tidbits, advice here and there. I realized that I had some sort of calling on my life, even though I didn't know what it was. And so for me, I realized that even helping my friends, giving advice, encouraging them, motivating them, it's sort of revealed itself to me that I needed to do something where I could be of service in the helping field. And at the time, I wasn't sure. So leading up to finishing high school, and when it came time for me to think about college and what I wanted to do, I guess naturally went the psychology route, where I decided then psychology focused on the mind and the behavior. It's in alignment with what I was doing and how I was being received by my friends and a few teachers in high school. Then that's what I was meant to do in the world. But the fear came in where I said to myself, and this was just stories, am I capable enough to, study and get my undergraduate degree in psychology? Am I able to really, really become that A student, or at least pass in order to graduate? Because I have to be honest here, Rodney, I was not that A student. I was an average student. I didn't pay much attention in school, even though I had the potentials, but I was distracted a lot, in typical high school. And I think you can recall, and for your listeners, think about high school days. I mean, you do have friends who are the quote unquote nerd. We put these, words or placements on them. But for me, I don't know if you can relate on your audience, but I wasn't really focusing much on education. And I was more like a social person. And I wouldn't say I was as popular, but I hung around the popular friends, the popular girls and boys in the school. And so education wasn't focused for me. However, that was a part of my limiting belief, thinking that, can I make this happen? And so I had to consult with my parents what I wanted to do, explain to them that, this is the route that I want to take, because I really feel like that's what I was meant to do in the world. In addition to other people affirming that for me. My friends will tell me, Racquel, you're so easy to talk to. You're so likable, and you get me. And even that coming from them made a huge difference in my life. And so I had to decide for myself, the first thing is the belief in myself. And in the context of fear, you have to believe that there is something that you can do in this world, regardless if it's freaking you out inside, regardless if you know what it's gonna look like first and foremost, and how you're gonna achieve it. And so for me, I had to surround myself at that time with my community of friends, my parents, people in my family that were encouraging me to say yes, like a cheerleader. Yes, you can do this. You just got to get focused. You already know what you want. You just got to get focused. Believe in yourself. You can do anything. My mom always told me the sky is the limit. Just put your mind to it and you can do it. And that was the early stages of me breaking through that fear.
Wow, wow. So I can hear the passion in your voice when it comes to this. I can tell that you're very passionate about it. But I want to get back to something that you said a little bit earlier about the limiting beliefs, and I want to break that down. The limiting beliefs, right? Those two words, limiting beliefs. And the reason why I want to do that is because, you know, we all have limiting beliefs about something, and it's funny that, when it comes to your beliefs and whether they're limiting or not, if they're empowering, when that's great as well. But when we have these beliefs, what I've learned is that we get to decide what we believe.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? And so it's like you were saying, people may have imparted certain things into you to encourage you, or they could have imparted things into you that discouraged you, caused you not to believe what it is that you wanted to accomplish, or that you had the ability to accomplish what you want to accomplish. But to really break that down, it really is a choice for you to believe that or not. And those stories, we come up with these stories, and those stories are a lot of times the basis to whether or not we believe a certain thing. Just easy. It could be because, I'm Black. And so that's a story, right? You're Black. And that may be a true story. It may be factual, but it doesn't mean that that is the reason why you can or cannot accomplish a thing. Mm-hmm. Now, whether you believe that or not, that is a conscious choice. I'm too old, or I'm too young. I mean, all of these things are stories, and then we believe these stories. And so I really wanted to bring that out because I think a lot of people deal with that. They have these stories about their lives. Obviously, you had a story about your life. There was things that was going on in your head, and obviously you consulted with your parents and other people that supported you, and it allowed you to make the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so here you are now, right? Having at one point in your life believed that potentially you didn't have what it takes to graduate high school. And you're writing a book. I mean, that's amazing. And it really shows the true power of the stories that we make up and whether or not we believe them. So you have a different belief now. I mean, you're a game changer. You're changing the world now with what you're doing.
Yes, and I just want to add something here too, Rodney, because I realized that not a lot of people had that support that I have, and that community to drive me, to push me through my own beliefs, limiting beliefs at that time, and to now be able on the outside to say, yes, I went through that, and that was a challenge for me at that young age. But when you think about it, when you're a teenager and you're getting ready to graduate high school and transition into what it is that you want to do in this world, it is a very serious moment, right? Not even a moment, it's a serious decision as far as what you're going to do. And oftentimes education or graduating high school is of utmost importance because it will definitely allow you to go further and to serve this world further majority of the time, right? But what I want to say, the point I want to say here is that there are a lot of people who did not have that support. And so support don't have to come only from great parents. It could come yes, there are great teachers as well who can see, it's like they have a crystal glass or an hourglass that they can see into your future. They can see your potential before you can even see it in yourself. And so if you don't have that community that's strong, like somebody that's so close, a parent, family members that see that and can support that and encourage that, then of course you have teachers. You can through books, read books. You have the media too. There's still positivity going on in the world. At the time they were library, the internet wasn't so popular, but going to the library, reading books, now we have access to that. So it does not matter. Even I know I was talking in the past, but even now in the present, whatever challenges or obstacles you're going through and you feel because of fear or self-doubts that you cannot break through that and you cannot find the help, I want to encourage you that the help is there. You just have to seek to find it and align yourself with the right type of people, the right type of mentorship, and the people that's going to be there to encourage you and to keep you focused in attaining those results. So I really want to add that as well.
Well, I'm a real big advocate for environment, and
Yeah.
environment is so important, and that's what I hear you scream, and I hear you saying that, especially when you have issues with believing in yourself or self-doubt, or perhaps you've come from a place where not you haven't seen many people accomplish what you want to accomplish. You have to put yourself in a place that is conducive to your success, and I just love saying that. Put your place put yourself in a place that's conducive to your success. And what we're talking about is environment. I mean, if you're around a lot of negativity, it's difficult enough when you have that little voice in the back of your head that's talking to you and telling you, just like you said, who do you think you are to go out and change the world? Who do you think you are to write a book? Who do you think you are to talk about transformation?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard enough when you have that little voice, but then when you have people around you who don't support your dream, people around you who don't want to accomplish anything in life, they're settling for the status quo, right? They don't want more. And here you are trying to be a game changer. You're trying to make waves. It's difficult. It's doable, but it's difficult. And one of the ways to really put yourself in a place that is conducive to yourself is to surround yourself with believers, surround yourself with people who are about transformation, who are really trying to make it happen, who want to be game changers. That's really what it's about.
Yes, very, very true. Environment, community is important, very important and key, like major key for you to have an environment that's supportive, that's encouraging, who will call you out when you're not doing what you said you will do in terms of that accountability.
Yes.
So you need to surround yourself with that.
Yeah. So when we're talking about, overcoming fears, right? And I see how environment can be very helpful when perhaps you're fearful of stepping out on something. Mm-hmm. And that's where that mentor, and I love mentors, and I like coaches as well. I mean, I know you're a coach, but there's something to be said about a mentor, because see, a coach is as a person, like you said, that can see the potential in you, and although they may not have done what it is that you're trying to do, they can see that you can do it, that there's a possibility for you to do it, and then they coach you into that destination, into that possibility. Whereas a mentor is someone who has done exactly what you're trying to do, and they can show you how to do it, give you the step-by-step instructions on how you can do that yourself. And so when it comes to fear, I mean, having a coach is great as well, which we're going to talk about how you coach, your clients, and as a relationship coach, as a career coach, and having that mentor as well, because when you are fearful about doing something and you have someone that can hold your hand and say, hey, you can do this. Why? Because here are the steps. This is what I did to overcome that fear and get where I am. And you can just follow in that same, path and accomplish what you want to accomplish. So environment is just, and I guess we can't beat the drum enough on environment and how important that is. So tell us, as a career coach, as a relationship coach, how do you help people in their careers? How do you help people with their relationships? Talk to us about that.
Yes, and so me being a career and relationships coach, I focus on the career first and foremost, and then you will be amazed how the relationship, whether it's an intimate relationship or non-intimate, it still ties in under the career. And it's like a puzzle. It's amazing. And so, as a career and relationship coach, I typically work with success-driven corporate women who are miserable, they're tired, they're stressed out in the job that they are in right now, and the challenge that they have is making a decision whether they want to stay, whether they want to transition into another career, or if they want to start a business. And so I help these women who have these frustrations come out on the other side, first and foremost, get clarity in finding what it is that they want to do, and then come out on the other side transformed. And so in transformation, that is, they become more self-aware. They become more happier, more fulfilled with their life. They're on purpose. You know, they are on mission with what it is that they want to do. And many of my clients, the problem that they're having is that they have been playing small. They feel like they're in a box. They feel like they're suffocating, and they want to express themselves. They want to show off their skill sets. They want to position themselves in a way that they are recognized, they're feeling appreciated, they're feeling value for what it is that they're doing. And it's the same thing in their relationships as well. And then I will talk specifically to non-intimate partner relationships. So that could look like family, friends, that could be co-workers, managers, that could be anyone on the outside of being in an intimate partner relationship with your partner, spouse, etc. And so a lot of my clients, they are dealing with the fear of speaking up for themselves, the fear of feeling as if they are too educated, and because of that they will be a threat in the workplace to their coworkers and or their managers. And so that limits them from getting a promotion, because they're feeling that that manager or managers or upper management are feeling as if they're threatening to them and their job, which is, you know, I would say 60%, 70% of the time true, unless you're working with a manager that is forward moving and encouraging, you know, and can foster, can see that talent and foster and appreciate that and push that employee to where they're aspiring to be, right? And what I've found out too is that a lot of my clients as corporate women, they're settling, they're comfortable, and they're tolerating what the type of job they're doing. It doesn't mean that they don't like it. It's just that they need to rearrange some of the culture and certain things, and they feel like they can't speak up in meetings. And so in terms of transformation, what I help them do is, when I talked about earlier, those limiting beliefs, those self-doubts and those fears, is I get them crystal clear on how it is, what type of impact they want to create, and how they can position themselves to get that recognition within the workplace and not be that threat, that perceived threat, I should add, to their superiors or to people in that that workspace. In addition, now, yes, go ahead.
So hold on, because it's a lot. It's a lot that you're giving us right now. Okay, so let's break this down into digestible pieces.
Sure.
All right, and so if you have someone, I mean, there's a lot of fears you just called out. I mean, there's different types of fear. All right, and so we can't cover them all here on the show. But you know, in general, when you're dealing with someone, you know, how does a person get from getting clear to you mentioned getting to the other side, and I'm assuming the other side is the place in their life where they're happy and they feel free and they're enjoying life, that they love their life and everything is great. But so you get a person who's clear, hey, I want X, Y, and Z. All right. And so they're clear about what it is they want. They're clear about why they want it. Okay. And so what's the next step for that individual?
So if they're clear about what they want and why they want it, the next step really is to formulate a map, some sort of strategic map, and implement. Because having the information and knowing exactly what you want in terms of the clarity, it's great. Then the next step is now implementation, which that is the piece that is difficult for many people, because now you are in the mix, you have to execute, and execution does not always look or plays out the way we think it would. All
Mhm.
right. And this is why coaches, going back to coaches, is so essential and important, because not only are you able, a coach is able, such as me, to dissect and get you clear on what it is that you want and the reasons behind it, because you have to have that reason. That's going to be your, whether intrinsic or extrinsic motivational drive to propel you. But that implementation piece, you need that accountability. You need that coach to hold your hands and definitely direct you when you hit a barrier, when you hit a problem, when you get sidetracked, to keep you accountable in getting and achieving what it is that you said you wanted to do.
So what I'm hearing you say is, you get clear and then you get on the court. Because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people live their lives in the stands. They're
Yes.
spectators. They have their own goals and dreams, but they don't feel like they can accomplish their own goals and dreams. And maybe it's fear, maybe it's lack of resources, whatever it is. They stay in the stands. One of the things I'm very passionate about. You know how you see people that are very successful, whether they be athletes or actors or you know mongols, great business people or whatever. uh, they're successful, and then you take someone who's aspiring to be that. They will, for some reason, differentiate themselves with the person who's successful. And what I mean by that, they'll say it's okay, and they'll, it's kind of like accept the fact that that person can do it, that person can be successful, that person can be a millionaire, that person can be an athlete, a star athlete. But then when they look at themselves, they don't view themselves that way,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I really want to change that, because we're all human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have an imagination just like he has an imagination. He gets 24 hours a day. I get 24 hours a day. Now, there may be some other variables in the equation. Maybe, he was blessed with resources, or, his mom and dad had certain things that allow him to get a head start. And that's okay. That's all right. This is a race, if you will. Right. But just because someone has a head start doesn't mean that you can't finish your race, that you can't cross the finish line, that you can't be the best that you can be, that you can't be a game changer. And sometimes just that story, just that thought, just that belief will cause people to stay in the stands. They
Mm-hmm.
won't get out on the court and play the game. This is before the barrier. This is before the failure. This is before, all the things that occur on your way, on your journey towards the life and the success that you want. You can't experience any of that if you don't get on the court, if you don't get on the field, if you don't get out of the stands. And so I love this. I mean, because sometimes we say you have to make a plan, right? And that can be taken as, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds simple and easy. But making that plan and implementing that plan is one of the biggest steps that a person can make in their quest to become a game changer.
Yes.
Because you can't score if you're not on the field. You can't win anything if you're not on the court. If you're just watching, you're just spectating, and time in your life is passing you by.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so, as part of this implementation, when a person is implementing, they're on the court. How do you walk them to the other side, as you explain? What's the next step? What do you do after that?
So one of the other strategies or tips I would give to you and your audience is that you gotta manage your expectations.
Mm.
Huge.
Oh, wow.
Managing expectations, because a lot of times, even with a plan, we think that, okay, this is how the plan's gonna go, A, B, C, D, E. Sometimes that's not how it's gonna go in reality when you're implementing it, right? When you're on the court, sometimes it's E first, then B, then A, honestly. And so in the context of managing your expectation, you have to be aware that, okay, this can play out different ways. And I think with regard to you saying that a lot of people are in the stand and they have the vision, they know their why, but they're so scared of stepping on the field and executing, is because in their minds, their expectation is that even if I do that, even if I get on the court, even if I get on the field, I am not going to score that goal, or I'm not going to shoot that basket. And so they're already thinking about the failure. But what if you win? What if you score that goal? What if you shoot that basket? I mean, it could be either or. The question is, are you willing to put yourself in that position to find out? That's the question. And a lot of people cannot come to terms with that, to say, yes, I am willing to risk something or to try. It's better to have tried than to not try and then think and then be like, okay, what if I have done so a year ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago? What would my life would have been like? What type of life would I be living? And this is why a lot of people live with regrets. I mean, we didn't touch on this, but just briefly, Rodney, I also have a background as a licensed medical social worker, and I've worked in hospitals for 10 years. And I love talking to my elderly geriatric patients when I see them through the emergency department, or if I am providing psychotherapy. And they always tell me one thing: try everything. Better you fail at something, knowing that that was something that you wanted to achieve in your life, than sit on the court and say, okay, this is not going to work out because I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources, I don't have the connection, I don't have the know-how, in quotations, I am not smart enough, I am stupid, whatever that the stories are. It's better you put yourself in the position. You may risk it all, because things don't always happen how we wanted. But it's better to have done that than to be living your life with regret and be feeling miserable and feeling like you've lost out on life. And that was some of the stories that some of my elderly clients or patients have told me, and that have stuck with me. And so for the audience that's listening, please play, get in the game. You're not going to know the outcome and what your potential can be and the life that you can live without you getting in the game and getting down and dirty. That's the only way.
Down and dirty.
Down and dirty.
From
Yes.
Racquel Walters, everybody. Relationship and career coach Racquel Walters is here with us today, imparting her knowledge about overcoming fear, being a game changer, being your best self. You mentioned something that I want to touch on, that you gained from one of the persons that you spoke to as a social worker.
Yes.
And they said better to try and fail. So let's stop right there.
Yes.
Let's think about that for a minute. I'm a thinker.
Yeah.
I really like to really think about especially something like this, something that's said in this manner. It's better to try and fail. Most people don't think it's a good thing to fail, but this person is saying it's better to try and fail. So in your mind, as a coach, why do you think it's better to try and fail? What's so better about that?
It's better because in terms of failing, because we're all gonna fail, right? The lessons are so rich that you can learn. And it could be minute lessons or it could be huge lessons. We don't know, depending on what your goal is. But the lessons that you will learn is so rich that you can go back to the drawing board and you can start again. And you can start as many times until you get the ultimate success that you're looking for, or that particular goal or result that you wanted. All right. Failure is key and so important. That's another major key. And you have to be comfortable with failure at first, because we have to be honest here. Failure is very scary. And I'm not saying that it wasn't scary for me, but over time, because I've failed so much, it has been part of my success story, because each time I fail and each time I bump or get into a certain wall or barrier, it gets me thinking, okay, Racquel, what could you have done differently? What could you have done better next time? How else can you approach this? From what angle? Especially if it's something truly that you want. You're going to keep going at it until you get it. That's where that drive will come from, because you're going to be looking at that giant saying, I don't care how many times you knock me down, but guess what? I am going to get up and I am going to break you down, and I'm going to get across that bridge or across that wall or across that barrier. And so it's better to have failed than not to have tried, because especially if your why, and this is why your why of whatever it is that you want to do in terms of the career path, your purpose, that big purpose that you feel like you were placed on this world to impart of service, of value, to provide something, that thing that you feel like you were meant to become and be in this world, right? That's why you got to be very crystal clear on what that is, and bring you on that journey, because that's your why, your reasons. It doesn't have to be something grand either. It could be that, you know what, I just want to help my family, and we're in a financial rut, and it's always been that way, and I'm going to be that person to change around that story, and close that cycle, and move my family into a financial freedom for the generation and the next generation to come. But if you don't, kind of carry that mantle or that baton, think about, a rally or a relay, in the Olympics. If you don't do that, then think about, are you going to be sad? Are you going to be miserable? Will that thought constantly torment you or give you nightmares at night? I mean, what are the costs? What are the costs, and what is the pain? And if that pain and cost is too great of a burden, then guess what? Get on that court, get on that field, and go get your success.
Wow. I love that. I was reading a book the other day, and it was talking about some of the characteristics of people that are very successful. Mm-hmm. And I ran across a passage, and it said that people that are very successful in life, the game changers, they embody failure. They understand that failure is part of the process. I really think we shouldn't call it failure, because, we're talking about fear and failure, like the term, as we know, the definition of failure, the term failure is fearful. Mm-hmm. Just, fail. No one wants to fail, and it's so deceiving, if you will, the term failure, because that experience that we experience when we do fail, if we have the right mindset, can be very liberating.
Yeah, I love that word, liberate.
It can be very liberating, because you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes when you fail, you realize what you didn't know. But we call it failure. In my book, that's a gain, that's a win, right? Because anything that's going to allow me to become more aware, to learn something new, that's not failure. And so the whole perspective around failure, the whole definition of failure, in my mind, is a little bit construed. Mm-hmm. And so you have to have a certain perspective. You have to have that game changer mentality when it comes to failure, because failure, by definition, can make you fearful. But when you have the right perspective on failure, you no longer have to be fearful, because you'll understand that in failure, there's so much liberation. And that's what you want. You want the things that's going to allow you to keep going further and further and further. But because failure has such a negative connotation, it prevents people from embracing it and experiencing it. And as a result, they stay where they are. They never move to higher ground. In order to move to higher ground, you got to fail, and you have to fail forward. You have to go through these experiences that are going to give you the tools, the know-how, the knowledge to go to higher levels in life, to make waves and changes in life. And so I just think that the way failure has been positioned and presented, is a little misleading, if you will, and it takes people like you, right, to change that, to impart the true definition, the empowering definition, the life-changing, game-changing definition of failure. So I think it's wonderful that you do what you do. So that's awesome. So how can people reach you, Racquel, if they wanted to get to know you a little bit more, inquire about your services? How can people reach you?
Yes, so people can reach me directly on my website, which is www.racquelwalters.com. And Racquel, I'll spell Racquel, Racquelwalters. And that's the best way to just learn some more about what I do and how I can potentially help you with your career and your relationships issues.
Awesome. And so your book is coming out soon. You're doing a pre-release right now, or is that forthcoming? Tell us about that. Give us some
Yes,
details.
ideal career, ideal life strategies to live your life fearlessly. So the pre-order will be coming out the ending of July. Not July, I'm sorry, June 31st. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be having that book available for 99 cents. So as an
Wow.
introduction, yeah, affordable, so that you can get some insights, bite-sized insight into my world, and how you can live your life fearlessly, because fear is something that's crippling us in today's society. And once we can that game changer mentality and shift our mindset to focus on, you have the power within you to change around your situations despite those fears, despite those stories, and break through and rise above those in order to be bold and courageous and to go get what it is that you want in your life. Then this book is for you.
Awesome. Racquel, I want to thank you for being here with us today and sharing your time and your knowledge here with us. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank
Thank you so much. And if there's anything that we can do here at Inspirational Endeavors, let us know how we can support you, because we just love having you here. And I think you're doing amazing work in the world, and you're so awesome. So thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Rodney, for having me here. And, game changer mentality, is what this world needs. And I wish you much success, brother.
Thank you so much. So there you have it, guys. Another beautiful episode of the Game Changer Mentality podcast. We're here with Racquel Walters, who's just graced us with her presence, and I'm such an honor. It's such an honor to have her here on the show. Any last words for the listeners before we end the show, Racquel?
Yes, always know that you have whatever potential inside of you to make changes to your life, despite your fears, despite your limiting beliefs, and to know that you are worthy and you are loved and you're supported, and that you are a light in this world, and you should light up this world even more because you are amazing.
Awesome. That's what we believe. Game changer mentality. Where we believe greatness is your birthright.